Local area music. Well, whether you like it or not, Bloomfield, winners of 6 in a row, lost to Montclair on Thanksgiving Day. They are number 10. Number 9 team in the poll, the Carteret Ramblers. They made it into the state playoffs, lost in the opening round. They finished at 8-1-1. The number 8 team in our poll, the Caldwell Chiefs, 9 straight wins. They lose their last 2 of the season. They finish in the 8th spot. The number 7 spot belongs to the West Essex Knights, who finished the season at 8-3, and they were finalists 24 seconds away from a Group 3 championship. They lost to Morris Knowles. Number 6 team in our top 10 poll, the New Providence Pioneers. They win 10 in a row, but they lose the state championship game to the Butler Bulldogs. They are number 6. The number 5 team in the polls, we move up the ladder, the parochial Group 1 champions from Immaculate Conception. They finish the perfect 11-0. The number 4 team in the poll, the Linden Tigers. They make the playoffs. They lose in the first round to Randolph. They finish at 7-2-1. I know they're not going to be happy when they see this, but staying at number 3, actually moving up to number 3 in our poll, the Summit Hilltoppers. They finished the season 10-1. They are the sectional champions for the 2nd straight year. Lone loss to Scotch Plains. Number 2 stays the Union Farmers with a very strong 8-1-1 showing. The loss to Montclair, the tie to Linden, and of course, as mentioned on last week's show, Montclair is the number 1 team in the TV3 poll with a 10-1 mark. They are the Section 2 Group 4 champs. And as we always do at this point, we like to give you our Byron Rankings. Again, the Byron Rankings are a mathematical analysis of the team, and certainly they sometimes vary from our look at the top 10 poll, but this is the way that the final Byron Rankings will look for the 1994 season. Bloomfield on the bottom at 50.3. Woodbridge is number 9. Caldwell and New Providence tied at 51.3. West Essex with a 51.5 ranking. Again, these are the Byron Rankings, a mathematical look at the top 10 in the area. Immaculate 5, Linden 4, a mirror image of our TV3 poll, Summit 3, Union 2, Montclair 1. But regardless of what the polls say, as my coaches at Bloomfield High School used to say in the days before the football playoffs, doesn't matter what the polls say, it matters whether you bring home the hardware, and Ray McCran, the Summit Hilltoppers, did just that, bring home the Section 2 Group 2 championship. So congratulations to you and your team. And the one thing that is interesting to us as we talk about it, 2 state championships under 2 different coaches, and that's a very rare accomplishment anywhere. What was it like inheriting a team with such outstanding talent?
Well, we just tried not to mess things up. We knew they were in the locker room, and we just tried to do what we had to do and really not make too many mistakes. Certainly, a lot of our championship, the players, the way they were taught to play football, and a lot of that credit has to go to Coach Benedict and his staff prior to our arrival there. Well, I know you're being modest because it takes more than just putting the players out there on the field. I'm sure Coach Benedict appreciates your comments. But what was it like picking up a program that had been so successful? I mean, obviously, as a head coach, you were probably thinking, boy, there's nowhere to go but down. Well, no, I wouldn't consider our season as a down season. Well, no, I'm just saying, boy, the state champion, no matter what I do, I may... Well, that's part of the challenge of coaching. I mean, each year you want to improve upon things that have been accomplished before, and that's one of the things that motivates you. Certainly, as the interview process was going on last year, I became well aware of the fact that there were some great athletes in our locker room, and it was a question of bringing in an offense that I was familiar with and trying to put the pieces together. And I think our coaching staff did a great job on doing those kind of things. Defensively, we used basically the same defense as Coach Benedict and his staff were using. So the big transition was on offense, but we knew the good players were there. And no doubt about it, you were nice enough to bring 3 of the very good players here with you this evening. Jamie Allen, Carl DeMuth, and Tori Fogg. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming by here. Jamie, let's start with you. You probably made the biggest transition of all on offense. I'll say that because last year you threw 17 touchdown passes, and this year you're on the receiving end, or at least scored 15 touchdowns. What kind of transition was it for you in particular from the single wing to Coach McCran's more wing T I formation offense?
Actually, it was a change, but it really wasn't a big change because last year in the single wing, I caught passes, so I thought that just going to split end, it'd still be the same thing, but I was used to touching the ball a little bit more in the single wing, but in the I, it's really a running offense, and I understood that, but it really wasn't a change that much for me.
Carl, let's talk a little bit about this Summit defense because, again, it's obvious that the offense gets a lot of press all the time, especially when you put up the numbers that you guys did. But what was this Summit defense like? Do you think sometimes people overlook the Summit defense? And I'll say it right here. Do you think on last Saturday teams overlooked the Summit defense?
Yeah, we were definitely overlooked. I thought we were the backbone of the team. We didn't let up many points throughout the season, and we really stepped up against Mendham, shutting them out until the very end. So.
Well, the truth was, as we looked through the stats, Summit only allowed 7 points in the first quarter and 7 points in the second quarter all season long, and both of those were to the same team, Scotch Plains. Torrey Fogg, with the kind of defense that this club had, did it make it a little easier for the offensive side because you knew that one touchdown in most cases was going to win a game? How did that affect the offense, knowing how well the defense was playing?
It really didn't affect it that much because we knew we could score a lot of points, and we knew our defense wouldn't let up many. So if we scored 1 or 2 touchdowns, we knew probably the game would be over, most likely.
Let me throw this out to all 3 players. What was the most difficult part about trying to defend your sectional championship? Pretty much as was the case with our first 2 guests, the field hockey team, the girls tennis team, everybody's looking to beat Summit to make their year. Fellas, any comments on that, defending your crown?
Yeah, we knew every time we went out to play that we had to be on top of our game because we were the champs and everybody wants to beat Summit. And that's all the coaches told us, that we had what everybody wanted, and every week we had to go out and perform the best we could, and when we did that, we repeated.
Carl, the other thing that's interesting about our first 3 guests on this program, the first 3 teams we talked to, great traditions, whether it be West Essex field hockey, Millburn girls tennis, and now Summit football. Does that help you guys when you go out on the field knowing that, hey, they've won so many championships through the years, or does that really not matter once the first kickoff happens?
Well, it really doesn't matter when the kickoff happens, but when you think about Summit football, you think about winners. I mean, we've done it for so many years. I mean, we have this plaque in our locker room. It's called the Wall of Fame, and there are so many teams on it, with ranging from conference champs to number one team in the state. So.
Torrey, this is, again, an interesting team, this Summit team, because for the most part, you're usually the smallest, if not one of the smallest, in the Watchung Conference. Do you feel that the Watchung Conference, particularly playing the bigger schools, gets you guys ready for the state tournament?
Yes, I think that helps a real bunch because we play bigger schools, we get more points for that, and the teams are a little bit tougher than some of the teams we play in the playoffs, who they play. So I think that helps us out a real bunch.
Well, talking about tough players and tough teams and tough defense, we've got a piece of highlight from Saturday's game that will pretty much illustrate how tough it is to play against Summit when you are on the offense. If you didn't get a chance to see it, this is the quarterback for Mendham rolling out, and you will see something that I got to admit I've never seen. That is, fortunately, not his head flying off the field. You will get a look at it on replay. Fellas, when you saw it on the field, what were you thinking when he took this shot? I believe it's Jeff Lovell who makes the hit?
When I saw that hit, I said to Torrey, I've never seen a hit like that in high school football before.
And that was the hit of the year, and there's something you don't see too often, a player without their helmet down on the field. And Ray, again, that's just one example, an unusual play. But why don't you tell me a little bit about this?
I don't know if
defense.
that play is. I don't know if the play is unusual from Jeffrey's standpoint. I mean, he's had several major league hits.
He had one in the Westfield game that we did.
He had one in the Westfield game, and certainly this hit here is indicative of the kind of football that Jeff plays on every down. He's just a guy that he comes to play every week, and you better have your chin strap buckled tight when you're playing against him.
Let's go to the phones right now. Fred is with us. Fred, thanks for calling. Your question, please.
Yes, I was wondering about how do they rank the different high school teams?
Okay, well, the 2 polls that we showed you, the one is done statistically. It's a mathematical comparison, and the other is an opinion poll, sort of like the AP and the UPI.
And I would like to commend Summit's football team for such a good year.
All right, well, Fred,
Thank you very much.
Wonderful hit.
That's true. Fred, thanks very much for the call, and we do appreciate that very much. Coach, let's talk a little bit about this defense. The fellas mentioned it, that maybe people overlooked your defense, and they really shouldn't do that because was this team built around the defense?
Well, I happen to believe that when you start building a program, you've got to start with defense, and then you've got to have an excellent kicking game. And then if you have those two ingredients, the name of the game is to get points on the board, and that's where your offense comes in. The thing that our defense constantly did was they constantly got us the ball in good field position. When you have good field position, it's really it's an easy situation for the offense to take the ball over and go a short distance and score. And so, yeah, I think the strength and the backbone of our team was our defense, and then we had an excellent kicking game, and then we had some great kids who performed very well on offense. So, I think you win a championship when you have all three of those ingredients, and I think we were fortunate this year to have all three of those parts of the game.
Tariq, thanks for the call. Your question, please.
Yeah, how y'all doing out there?
Doing pretty good.
All right, yo, this is a comment to the Summit football team.
Go ahead.
Number 8.
Go ahead, Tariq.
Yeah, number 8.
Yeah.
Tariq, go. Speak. Okay, I think. Tariq, are you going to speak? I guess not. All right, well. Gave him his opportunity as much as we wanted to. Fellas, let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the one lowlight of the season, Coach, and not that they're a bad team. They were very good, Scotch Plains. What did you say to the fellas to regroup after the Scotch Plains loss?
Well, first of all, Steve and his team came in and just did a great job against us. And they did such a great job that it forced us to make a couple of changes in our defense, which strengthened it. We had Westfield coming in the next weekend, and then we had to, or actually Westfield was a couple of weeks away, but we made those changes as we went down the road. And the one thing about if you're going to lose to somebody, you want to lose to a good program, and obviously Steve got that team in the playoffs, and we have the utmost respect for that program.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming by, as we have with our past set of guests. I would like it very much if you signed in. I'm going to start the first fight of the postseason. Torrey and Jamie played in the secondary. Carl, you were on the linebacking core. All right, what was the strength of the defense? Was it the secondary or the linebackers?
Secondary.
Secondary.
Carl?
Linebacker.
Ah, we knew it. It was an easy answer. And if we had one of the huge fellas up front here, they would certainly say it was the front four. But no doubt about it, the Summit Hilltoppers, regardless of what unit was the best, the team was, as they win the Section 2 Group 2 state championship. It's a game you'll be able to see on TV3 a couple more times if you haven't had a chance to. Just a great performance by the team last Saturday. We're going to take a short break right now.